Alright. So my grandpa is kind of a goofball. Well, he's more of a full-blown psychopathic lunatic, a lunatic that lives in the room next to me. The entirety of our family cast it on us, my mom, a little brother, grandpa, and I out because of the shit my grandpa told her in his younger years. I won't go into that, but to give you an idea, he's been an addict for most of his life and suffered everything he could have because of it. It's probably better if I start from when all this stuff really went down, and not only his, but it's also my life. 6 years ago, when I just entered high school and my kid brother answered another country, my grandpa got a huge cut in his forearm for some reason. The customer never really healed properly and did some point mostly because of his negligence and got infected, so the doctors had to amputate it. He really didn't seem to mind and I was rather calm when we brought him to the hospital. But then he did what he usually does, start some random stuff. He has the nurse to give him a bag of blood for him to take home because he said he felt dizzy and would really need it after the nursery presumably started to attack her, screaming at just one bag. He doesn't want mine anymore, don't you understand? Luckily the nearest in the zoo. I'm sure we would have to pay for him because my mother's heart can bear seeing her father serve time. She probably knows that once he's in he'll either stay there for good or get out, and a body bag from that day I'm ready. I kept hearing him saying I want to go back. I want to go back in the middle of the night. After a few months he started to become stable again, even better than he was before the amputation. My mother even let him take my little brother to the park after he kept begging her to let him spend more time with his grandsons. She accepted, but of course both me and my mom came along to keep an eye on him. If only we did a better job the half an hour before we were. I want to leave for the park, both my mother and I let our guard down, and before we knew it my little brother and my grandpa disappeared. We called the police and the whole operation it started, but they were both nowhere to be seen until my grandpa came home that night telling us that he didn't answer any of our questions with a clear answer. The only thing he said was, "I can finally go back." He struck my mom and he made a run for it. I haven't seen him since. A few years later I got a note in my locker that said "It's really great here. I wish you could see it all. The underworld is really something else. I still miss both you and your mom. Could you do me a favor and leave some money to the dumpster at the local coffee shop? Something like 1 or 2,000, that'll be enough." Grandpa, I made sure to keep everything about what had happened to my grandpa a secret from the people at my school, so although it's still possible they would have found out, it's very unlikely that this was some kind of prank. I'll tell you guys right off the bat, I didn't go to the dumpster here, even if my grandpa would be there last year and they finally found out. What was left of my little brother in the sewer is a short distance from the park that we visited it. A group of teenagers found in one. They were trying to make a spooky vlog. The following part took me a whole week to write because every time I tried my fingers started to go numb. For some reason, his neck was chained to a wall, and when was he as pale as could be? The autopsy showed that he had died of chronic anemia only a month ago. His body was filled with puncture wounds and there were empty cans of soup and other food scattered across the part of the sewer. Or my grandpa was still nowhere to be seen, though. Yesterday, a package arrived at our doorstep. The package had my name on it, and so my mom just handed it over to me without opening it. I didn't order anything recently, so I really wasn't sure if I should have opened it, but it had my name on it, so I took it to my room and I opened it. A small moment before I did, my mind sent me some every thoughts. Don't tell me. My grandpa sent me some body parts of my little brother. I thought as soon as I opened it, my heated body is started to cool down. There is a camera. On a note, Loretta, I hope this package reaches you. Well, some punks must have found my place, because I saw this camera near your little brother's body. After I got back from doing shopping, I went to the underworld as soon as I could, because the police would have arrived sooner or later. Anyway, you probably know what I did to your little brother and I'm sorry for it. I didn't want my blood anymore, so I defined play. Someone with the same type of blood as I am sure you must be mad, but you won't be. Once you see how awesome this place is, I took the camera with me so you could find out for yourself. He told me to never record anything, but I still did it. Take a look, I'm sure you'll like it. Yes, if you want to come to me with a man in the video around a minute for her or something, he can be pretty hard to find. He'll tell you what he wants for the trip to the underworld. I haven't watched the film yet, but I will. As soon as the chills and stopped running through my body here, I watched his recordings and I came up with 3 possibilities to explain what I've seen. Either he somehow knows some really tech-savvy guy that's put this stuff together, or his lunacy is something genetic and by some really strange place. After waking up, or more like after getting out of bed, I'm not sleeping for the whole night. I decided I should just take a look before the curiosity consumes my whole life. There are 5 recordings. I'll give us a summary of each of them. The first one starts off with him in the store with 30 seconds of turn the Amy the camera at the floor, not realizing that he had already started the recording. After a swift shots of my little brother's body, he walked through the sewers without speaking. Now he climbed up a ladder. Walking in the dark streets of our city, a homeless man walked up to him and I'm sorry, man, do you know where I can find the supermarket? My grandpa pulled out a knife, shocking homeless man who put his hand up. After how old is camera? I'm making a film for my grandkids. He said that he gave the camera to the homeless man who was now filming my grandpa. My God, I thought he was wearing a dress riddled with holes, a wig, and a face full of makeup, looking like something between a cloud and an old woman. Hey, what do you think? Pretty fancy, huh? He has. The homeless man's hands were shaking the camera. My grandpa had the homeless man with the stomp yelling, "Don't move it. I'm going back to the underworld today. I'm so excited that I can finally show someone how great it is there. I'll be meeting my buddy." My grandpa stopped talking. After the homeless man started to shake again, he lunged towards the man fiercely. I wasn't really sure what had happened, but I'm guessing because he started to scream for help, after which my grandpa started running with the camera. A minute later he showed me a man in the far distance with a black hat and not all coat. That's him. Remember him? I'm going to put the camera in my pocket now. My camera was able to film the ways of the man through a hole in his dress. I'm guessing he walked up to the man and I could hear them talking. When was my folder? But I heard my grandpa's voice clear enough. I've got one more jar, he said. After some altercation he started begging a man. Please, please, take it. It's all I have. I couldn't really hear what the man was saying. The words I can make up were, "You got enough of that, I need to valuable maybe." My grandpa started saying of course, a bunch of times. After what you got something from his other pocket and started to shake the cameras. Vision got blocked by the dress just for a second, after which my grandpa asked this much. The man didn't say anything and after some movement my grandpa gave a short scream. I'm guessing he wanted to scream more because he crouched down for a minute or two, shaking on the ground, my eyes, trembling hands I could see through the hole. Again he handed the man something. "This will sell very well," the man said as he took one could only be my grandpa's sexual organ, slowly leaking blood flowing down his arm. I'm going to be completely honest. I had to clean up a lot of vomit on the camera. After seeing that part, they started walking, but after some time my grandpa fell and the camera didn't pick up much. Side has no sound. The next recording started with my grandpa's face, now without makeup, looking into the camera. Hey there, the transaction went through. I'm waiting for my buddy to pick me up. I'm going to put you on my back for now, don't worry, you haven't seen anything yet. He kept the camera rolling, but for a whole hour I couldn't hear or see anything extraordinary other than my grandpa giggling like a maniac. After a while you'll see more like a scream of joy than panic. He started digging through his bag searching for the camera. We're here, he said. As he showed me a wooden room without any windows, I figured out that it was. He was in some kind of old-fashioned house. He exited the house and showed me a street full of people with different colored hair, green and blue or purple salon. All of them are young, I'm guessing between 20 to 30 years old. Most of the girls were quite good looking and the men were also handsome. Hey, how much time for sunrise? My grandpa asked out loud, not really talking. View of the kitchen. The village was in some kind of desert in the houses were, all made of wood. He started laughing like a madman again. Yes, I brought you something amazing for me, but first I need to see the sun. He yelled to the crowd, look closely. You whispered to the camera. As he pointed his camera to the moon, I kept thinking what the hell? Through every minute of his recordings he pointed the camera up at the moon for a minute and then it happened, the moon exploded, sending a wave of light throughout the whole sky. The sky turned completely dark for a few seconds, after which I don't have the same spot. The moon was in a ball of light, appeared with a great band turning night into. Today the sun seems the same. Do you understand now? Grandpa asked. I had watched the explosion over and over again for at least 20 times before I moved on to the third recording. I was hesitant at first, but I think it's about time I introduced. My name is Basil Borden, but I go by Porter, even by my mother, since I'm the only one left in her house that still carries my father's last name. I'm a teenager born in the US, but my mother is British and after the family cast us out, we moved to East England. You already know a lot about my grandpa, all but his name, Warwick Merle, also known as a mad murderer. Now, the third recording was a walkthrough of the village. My grandpa was quite famous, a big upgrade from being notorious and the strange village that he called the underworld. People would wave at him wherever he went and a lot of people would come up and talk to him, mostly about Earth, like it was some foreign place to them. I wasn't sold on the fact that my grandpa was in the underworld. Maybe he just joined some society filled with crazy people like himself in the 4th class and started explaining stuff to me. He talked about how it's never too hot or too cold, about how the sun and moon change places every 6 hours, about how there are many kinds of plants that don't exist on Earth and about how he can finally be accepted here as the madman that he is, Porter. I want to live here forever, but it's difficult. Did you see these people? They don't starve, they don't Thursday, they don't even bleed as we do it. But as I hate to accept it and I'm very human, the only reason I have to go back to Earth is because at some point my food and water runs out and I have to go back before I'm too weak to stand on my legs. Besides, I can't do my job if I can't think clearly. Why don't you join me and bring some food and beverages while you're at it and bring. It was the first time my grandpa ever said that he had any kind of job. I wondered what he was doing. He took a sip of his favorite drink, although most would expect it to be something alcoholic. My grandpa loves to drink buttermilk. Personally, I hate it, But yeah, we don't have a lot in common anyway. My buddy is looking for parts of us humans. He sells them to certain people and in return he gives a ticket to the underworld. At first he only wanted our family's blood. He said that we were famous here and that collectors were willing to pay a huge sums of money to get a jar. That after a few years, though, the market changed. They wanted other pieces of us. Still worth it though, he said with a chuckle. I could never forget my grandpa for the things that he had done, but I was content with letting things in here for all I care. He can chop himself up until the day he dies. Living there instead of here is probably for the greater good. I'm going to make one more recording before I call it quits. I have things to do. I'm a busy man in the underworld. He said, "Border dinner's ready." My mom shot it from downstairs in just a minute. I shot it back. I started the last recording. I might as well finish it before I go eat dinner. I thought I'm going to see my boss. He's kind of lunatic, but he lets me live, so I can't really complain. He said, "What the hell?" I thought, "Lets me live, Porter, just a minimum ideal back." My grandpa started walking through the deserts until he reached the well. "Hold on, Porter, I need my hand now," he said as he put the camera in his pockets. I assumed that he climbed on the well, because when I could see you again he was in some kind of underground place with torches on both sides of the walls leaving the way a deeper down. "We're almost there," you whispered. With each step, the tension rose, my body started eating, but after sweating profusely throughout all the classes and I had no moisture left to excrete. And then he stopped moving, just as my heart stopped beating for a bit. Because in front of him was the most ominous and eerie looking being I had ever seen, a terrible with me I never knew I could feel long white hair going down to his knees, a mouth with teeth that could put envy and every predator. Nice, big as the moon, but mostly filled with the white, with only a speck of black the size of a pea in the middle, looking straight to my grandpa above all out. So a smile from ear to ear and no, not the expression, but literally from ear to freaking ear. He was not human, only humanoid. Welcome. My grandpa followed with the camera and then cut the footage. After the video stopped, I stayed at the camera for a few minutes. After I got my senses, I washed my face and I walked downstairs for another horror to meet me when that was more personal. I walked unsteadily, halted quickly as an image burned itself into my memory never to be forgotten, literally the only one that I loved, my mother on the ground with a gigantic cotton, her lower abdomen about to pass out, bleeding steadily in front of her an open door, with a trailer of blood leading outside. Party. It was him. "Tell the police," she said, after closing her eyes. I immediately took my phone, dialed 9111, switched to 999. I walked up to my mother. "What's the phone?" Squeezed between my shoulder and cheek. I was ice cold, focus on keeping her alive. I wasn't going to lose her, not now. The smell of meatloaf had filled the house. As I started applying pressure on her wound, the doctors told me her uterus had been cut out of her body and that she was in a critical moment. The police asked me a question, already suspecting someone, even though we had gone missing all these years ago. Should I show them the footage? It doesn't really prove anything. Even if they believe me, for how long can they protect us? How long can they guard us from him, and do I even want them to take care of this? Until now, I have accepted everything he had done to us, mostly because I had no choice, but it seems that this won't end. Will I antenna? The hunter must become the prey, seeing that he stole a part of my mother. He must be on his way to the underworld now. I have to find the mystery man, because only he can lead me there. I went to the place where I saw my grandpa meet him. He wasn't there, so I went looking everywhere throughout the city looking for this man, the only person that could lead me to my grandpa. I looked for 2 whole days as hopelessness started creeping. And I'm here. What am I thinking? I can't do this. I'm just a kid that hasn't even been in a single fight yet, but I can't kill him, even if I have to. Maybe he won't come for us again. Yeah, I'm sure this was just the last time. I thought. If you did. The 2 started rolling down my cheeks. Of course he'll come back and I won't be able to do anything. Strands of my hair will fall on the ground in my shoulder is. I really am nothing like him. I thought that if anything happened, my grandpa always took what he wanted. He always acted however he wanted to. He acted as if the world belonged to him, which made him unstoppable. I am not like that. I stayed home for a week visiting my mother in the hospital every night. After a week it passed, I forced myself to go to school. Maybe it'll get my mind off of things all the way. I really didn't want to see. My friends are teachers. At this moment in my life, I walk the empty halls in my school in the early morning, I move my body and not knowing where I was going, until I realized that, out of habit, life he did brought me to my locker. I opened it slowly after what, you don't fall out, and I picked it up. The moment that I touched the paper I remembered how my grandpa had left me a note all those years ago. I'll show him down my spine as I picked it up to take a look. Hey, dude, the boys and I haven't heard from you for a while and you weren't answering our calls. Any of our messages are opening the door. We're going on a camping trip between yesterday and the day after tomorrow, and so we're going to skip school for a few days. If you're down, you can join us. Just give me a call, Matthew. I chuckled for a bit. I forgot that I had a social life. After everything that happened to me, and she is a more pleasant note that I had expected to, my grandpa's know it from those years ago. What did it say? Again, I tried to remember. It's really great here, reporter. I wish you could see it. All the underworld is really something else. Could you do me what's your favorite? Leave some money in the dumpster at the local coffee shop. Something like 1 or 2,000 will be enough, Grandma. The coffee shop. Of course I thought I'd come in an impasse. Give up and live my life to the fullest, enjoy it as much as I can, or try to serve justice and, above all, revenge. I still here, with my head against the lockers, but not a lot of thinking. What's going on for? The image of my mother laying there on the ground, the image of her in her hospital bed, was blocking every thought that I tried to form. Do I even deserve to live if I don't even try to protect my loved ones? Screw you. I thought I'm going to end you would and live the life that I deserve to live. I started walking with the fire burning in my eyes and my brave. Am I wise or am I just foolish? Truth is that it doesn't matter. I will be whatever I need to be to make sure that he stops breathing in this world and the one that he has made me go through. Hell, for the world has been quite silent the past time. I thought I was an accident at the bus. Here it is, the Littler, the coffee shop my grandpa wrote about. But I couldn't find any information about the mystery man, nor any information about this coffee shop. I wasn't going to enter the shop, I just had to get back. Looking around the shop, I found a small path that seemed to go where I wanted to be. I'm in my way, but quickly stopped by a warm hand that gripped my shoulder. Can I help you? A voice asked. I turned around and I guess I'll just have to come back when. Why would a kid like you want to see him? He said, shocking me swiftly with his words. He knows. I thought, crap, what do I do? You shouldn't associate with people like Emma. Trust me. He followed her. I have to. There's something important I need to do. I said, look into the eyes, turn off, and I can only warn you. I suppose he said he's in his grip on my shoulder. I kept on walking until he said revenge is merely a march to one's own grave. His words struck me hard, but mentally I already passed that point of doubt. I passed the corner in there. He's done the mystery matter. My grandpa's buddy leaning against the coffee. Turn off the wall. Can I help you? He asked if I'm seeing me. I'm working tomorrow, is grandchild. I responded. He stopped doing it and he straightened his back. Oh, he said, Porter, right, he's talked about you a few times. I cut straight to the chase and I asked, what do you need me to do to get me to the underworld? Tone it down a notch. I don't want all kinds of fun stories about the place, but your kind won't survive in that place. What do you mean, my kind? I said nothing. Just go home, get it? I'm not going to help you do anything. Luckily, that was prepared. If you don't tell me, I'm going to tell everyone about you in the underworld. Good luck. Do you think anyone will believe you? What if I show them proof? I said with a smile. Proof? He asked. My grandpa made recordings. Are both you and the underworld asked for a trap? I said. The man started to sweat profusely. I got him right where I wanted. I thought so. You want a trip? Huh? He asked. I want a trip. And answers. I responded, I don't know, kid, I could just kill you right now. You know that is intimidation. Didn't work on me, though. If I didn't return within an hour, my partner will post the videos on the internet for all to see. Standing as tall as I could not take my eyes off of him for a second. I was prepared, but not to this extent. All right, can we go to a different place and discuss this further? He asked. We'll do this right here, right now. I said. You started to laugh, but it still kept looking at me. He said, you're not going to play Underworld after you hear everything we're about to say to you anyway. To be honest and partially to blame for everything that happened, people like me, to take people like your gramps to what you call the underworld. It is, if you believe it or not, a real place filled with people that seem like humans, but there's something very different, just like our kind, as good, but also bad people just living their everyday life. The which of these worlds are guarded by people like me? I am a little bit different, though. You see, humans are quite a rarity in our world. So there are a lot of people who pay huge amounts of money to have their pieces. So you make people give you body parts to go to this magical kind of place? No, not exactly, kid. I don't make them do anything. It's all their free will, and I don't recruit regular people who are evil like your grass. So you think of this as some kind of punishment. I don't really get what you're trying to do. Because my grandpa wanted to go back to this place. He killed my brother and he attacked my mother. He said he took pause. Good, here's the thing. No one has ever supposed to come out of that place alive. What do you mean? I asked. Your grandpa is the first to be hunted down by an accomplice of mine and make a few extra bucks of their body parts. My accomplice sells the body in Alabama, and I saw these single body parts to my partner here on Earth for some reason. And your grandpa keeps finding a way to come back, and I have no way of reaching my accomplished. I just keep accepting his payment. Open 95 gets killed this time. Master, if you call this place, or is it that place is what we call Alan, his story seemed to make sense. It would explain a lot, it's a lot to take in. I said, see, you don't want to go there. He said, why did he go for my brother and mother? Then I asked, well, in order to not take body parts off random people and to cause any national panic, I feel my clients by telling them only the parts of their bloodline are acceptable because they are special, even though they really aren't, because they usually give the first part of their own body and because they usually die after the first trip anyway and it usually doesn't cause any trouble usually. Why didn't you just kill him here? He said, this world, just like mine. I was making money because of your grams all the way. I didn't. I want to get you involved. I'm not going to go out of my way to save people. I don't know. You can blame me all you want, but at the end of the day, it was your gramps that chose to hurt you and your family. I never forced him to do anything. Alright, my eyes started to water, but I wasn't going to let myself cry. Why don't you just give me the recordings and we can just forget about all this, he asked. He was nowhere near a good person in my eyes, but he is honest. I'll get you the recordings, but I'm still going to the underworld considering the camera, my payment, fine. He said, give me a few parts in the back and said, let's go get your camera. We started to walk to my home without exchange, in a single word. On the way, I was deep and thought the whole way through. I'm thinking about everything that mystery man had told me about the underworld and the people that inhabit it. I couldn't help but get excited. When we entered the house, you can sit in the living room and I'll go get the camera upstairs. I said, I don't think you need to do that. He said. While standing in the open doorway, you put his hand on my shoulder and then moved it to my neck and grabbed, sorry, kid, it's just business, he said. I looked at his eyes like the naive Diana and at that moment I realized what kind of grand mistake I made. I was about to die, but at that moment, through the light that's showing out of my doorway and I'm reached across not my own, but the mystery man's snack. He pulled him away from you. I was choking him. He turned around and got inside, kicking my frozen body out of the way I feel in my ass, and I kept watching him choke the mystery man for a few more seconds until he stopped struggling. And I warned you. He said, I know I won't be around to see you next time. Stay away from all them and stay away from this man. No, I'm going. Are you out of your mind? He yelled, listen, I don't know you. Thank you for saving me, but I'm still going to Alan to kill him. That man is the only way that I can get there. I'll just talk to him tomorrow with a different strategy or something. You can't stop me. He started to get angry as the wrinkles under his eyes started to deep under 3 days. He said, what you get, 3 days to think about it after the 3 days. If you still want to go, meet me at the Littler at midnight. He said okay. I said surprise, but first I need you to give me the recordings. No, if I do, I won't have any leverage on that man over there. I won't be able to go. He walked up to me, grabbed them both of my arms and squeezed. Listen to me, Alan will be the death of you. If, knowing this, you still want to go, I'll at least make sure you get there alive, but I have to put the safety of my kind first. So you either trust me and give me the recordings or I'll just go put Justin Bieber. I continue to do so. He gave me 3 days to reconsider my choice, but those 3 days will only be used to prepare my plan to kill Grandpa. First, I need a gunner. I'm gone. I got a gun. A gun in England shouldn't be hard, right? I thought, eating my breakfast at 2 o'clock, like I always do. Even with my mom gone, I still want to eat raisin. You're such a baby. I guess I'll buy some Cocoa Puffs when I go to the supermarket tomorrow. Well, let's see, guns are illegal in this country. I don't know anyone that has any gang or mob ties, and I got about 26 pounds. Let's go look for some shady figures, I guess. At 9 p.m. I went to the park a few blocks away from my house filled with Sharpa Drive and waited. This park is usually packed with the 3 hours later, at around 12 o'clock, and they started coming, a gang of 5 boys on average, probably about 4 or 5 years older than I am. They started to approach me, probably because I was staring at them the whole time. With each step they took with their fancy brand shoes, my heart started to beat faster and faster. Hey there, kind of late for a kid like you to be outside, isn't it? One of the boys sighed. Yeah, don't you have school or something tomorrow? Another followed. Alright, kid, just beat it, we're going to sit here. I need a. One of them grabbed me by the arm and pulled me off the bench. Come on now, chop, chop, just say it, just say it. I thought. But I still really starting to get annoyed. Screw off before we beat the hell out of you. And one of them shouted, I need a gun. I finally said. The group started to look at each other in confusion. What did you just say? When I asked, do you know where I can get a gun? I said. One of them grabbed me by the collar and started moving me out of the park, but one of his friends. How much you got on you? I couldn't be honest. I don't really have any idea about the prices of weapons, but I'm pretty sure 26 pounds won't cut it. I got a 1,000 at home. I said, well. The ginger said, quite the green. You got there, buddy. Why don't you bring it so I can get you a deal? Show me the guns first. I said I'll trade you this one for a 1,000. He said, turn up a sweater showing a silver-colored gun, the kind of which I have no idea of. Here's my chance, I thought, and I lunged for the gun in his belt, and there was no way I could get a gun in a clean way. I just have to grab it and make a run for it. My palm touched the gun. It was warm, heated by the boy's body temperature. My heart rate is like Speed Racer as I was rushing to my face turn. They were battle-hardened. For 2 of the boys reacted so swiftly that, even though I was just a teenager on his own and they would have never let their guards down, one of them hit me in the head, followed by the other, rapping as Palmer on my wrist, making sure that I wasn't able to pull a gun out of his friend's pants, and my index finger reached for the trigger and I tried to pull it, holding my breath and anticipating a blast. That's what most likely blew the ginger's dick away that he wasn't used to. I'm lucky for him, and I guess for me, to the gun, I would say, on the one holding my wrist backwards and launched in the end of my God's forcing. Every bit of fluid my body contained just spilled on the ginger's fancy shoes. I fell down on my own vomit as the world stopped spinning for a moment. After a barrage of kicks to my side, the boys helped me up and put me on the bench that I was just sitting out. All right. One of the boys, what the hell do you want, man? You want to adopt them or something? He has. Laughing kid, you're not getting a gun, not all of us, that is. But trust me, I love is here. Believe that some people just have to disappear. When I started dropping tears, but I felt no sadness or humiliation in any sense, they just felt like crying. I suppose I did just almost bite the dust. Maybe some of it got in my eyes. I thought in the midst of my interrogation, listen, does the person you need God know that you want them gone? He asked my head, indicating I know for an answer, Well, I guess cherries are in season right now, he said with a smile, whispering a list of instructions in my ear granted a consolation prize. I won't tell him to feed if it could be called walking in the state that I was in. Never in my life was I beat up this badly. Actually, this was the first legit time that I got beat up. Television and movies are right, freaking sucks. Well, I guess at least Mom doesn't get to see me in this. I wouldn't want her to be worried. I got home instantly, making my way to the living room couch. The stairs can wait until tomorrow, and I close my eyes, trying to cover myself, thinking you only have 3 days. Of course you can't find a gun in 3 days. You tried your best, and don't be sad, you're just a normal kid. A gun for criminals and police officers? It would be pretty insane if a kid like you would be able to find a gun so quickly. Right? What kind of mad world would you be living at? Wait a second. I got up early for my body. It already prepared himself to fall asleep on my bottom. It reached the soft cushions of the college. I made my way up the stairs holding the railing tie with every single step. I didn't answer my own room, but the one next to it, the one that belonged to him. I had entered this room. Where is ever since my little brother disappeared? My God, it was a freakish mess inside. Mom never bothered to clean it. I guess it probably reminded her of everything that had happened. After an hour or two of searching her and a secret department in his desk, I found it a 6-shooter and a box of bullets. Of course, a man like him, whatever. I'm going to need a lot of water, but I don't want to carry too much either until almost I push the car towards the fruit aisle. He didn't tell me to get sweet or sour cherries, and it didn't matter. Anyway, I'll get Sarah, I guess. Okay, let me think. I got some snacks, I got some drinks, I have some canned goods just in case I'll be there for a long time, and I just need some buttermilk, so good right now. And I put my items on the counter. The cashier was a cute looking girl, short hair, light brown eyes with a "please kill me now" look on her face, and I let out a short laugh because of my thoughts. The people around me gave me weird dogs, while the girl gave me a small smile. No, to my heart. In an instant my face got hot, and I'm sure I was blushing. A girlfriend would be nice, though I never had one. Now that I think about it, the focus border, and that was not the time. You're a man on a mission, I said to myself. Ask. The person in front of me left what's left on the girl and I at the counter, as no one had queued behind me. At that'll be 28.39 pounds, she said after scanning my groceries. I'm $2 short, let me see what I can cut. I said, oh wait, it's 2.69 short. Can you take one of the cans? She took a look at me that practically forced my dad's mind to realize what she was doing. Oh, I said, and I gave her the 26 pounds. Thanks, I whispered as I put the groceries in my plastic bag. In a different world, maybe this would be the start of something special, but unfortunately I'm already on my way to one. I can't let anything put my mind off of it. Besides, I'm 2. I'll be bringing my mom's camera with me to record everything I can, and although on a murder mission, I'm sure I'll still have many moments I'd like to eternalize, I hope. With all my money spent, I went home, spending the rest of my day preparing my arsenal while imagining myself pulling the trigger on my grandpa. Is the only thing I'm done, and at this point is my ability to be as cold-blooded. I didn't always hate him, you know, although he was always the way that he is now. He was kind of a father figure after my dad left my mom when she was pregnant with my little brother. I don't really remember a lot about the time my dad was around, other than him having a lot of arguments with my grandpa. My mom very rarely talks about him and his reason to abandon us, but I'm guessing one day he just had enough of my grandpa's bullshit and he decided to leave. I mean, look at me, I'm practically going to turn myself into a murderer because of him. And the following night was non-existing. Although the sky turned dark and the hours were silent, it made no difference to me before I spent every minute consumed by my own thoughts. A day later, at 10 p.m., 2 hours before our meeting time, I decided I should make my way to the coffee shop. I still there across the street observing the shop and waiting a count in a second, the minutes and hours who all felt as slow as nails. People started leaving the shop, first one by one and then in groups of various sizes, and, lastly, a pink-haired girl left the coffee shop, after which no one followed. At 11:43 p.m., the only stepped out and took a look at me, saying, "I see you've chosen to come," prompted me to walk towards him. "I've come to settle some personal matters. I hope you understand," I said from the path I used to get to the back of the coffee shop. The mystery man appeared with a blank look on his face. "Have you been kidding?" "Yes," and my eyes widened. "Hey," I said, "thank you. Should I be scared? I mean, he did try to kill me. Don't tell me, this is a trap. Calm down, do you understand? If you're scared of him, you should be, but I'm here to make sure he doesn't kill you. Stupid old timer always has to meddle with my business." The mystery man said, with his hands in his pockets, "We're going on a trip, but I have to make sure you don't know where we're going." The owner said, "I'm going to blindfold you to make sure you don't trip, or something you can hold onto my arm if you want to, before we blind. He should know my condition. I'm quite sure this kid's thinking that he's getting a free pass." The mystery man said, "You're not actually going to do that to a kid, are you?" The owner said, "I don't discriminate. It would be unfair to all those who had to pay for a trip through my gate and it would slander my reputation." The mystery man said it was walking up to me. "Listen, kid, the cost of a trip is a body part chosen by. Do you still wish to go?" He was right. I actually thought that I was going to be allowed to pass the gate without payment. I guess my test of courage had already started. This was probably my last chance to go home unscathed. It's been mostly talk before this porter, "Show them what you're made of." I thought to myself as a drop of sweat fell from my forehead. "Yes, I'm still going. I'm sure you didn't expect me to accept." I turned my head to the owner, who gave me a disappointed look, judging the very essence of my choice to go. He seemed like a wise man, but I don't care about what he thinks. I must do this. "What body parts do I owe you?" I asked. "I'm not telling you." The mystery man said, "Give me a big." "How about the healing process?" I asked. "Don't worry about it," he said, making me worry about it. The owner put the blindfold on my eyes, making it as tight as possible before the owner. After several hours, the blindfold was taken off of me. My vision was blurry, slowly fixing itself on the image of the mystery man sitting in front of me on a wooden chair. The room was filled with a bitter smell, making me gag for a second. I looked around me was 29 eyes. I was in a room, covered in dust and mold, beige and brown, with dark spots on the floors and walls of what I can only imagine. "The last chance, fancy pants," he said, with the pitiful face. I've never been as scared as this. I thought, "Do you have any anesthetics?" I asked, "Would you like that?" "Yes, I know it is." Tears started falling off my cheeks and mucus started dripping from most likely my nose. "Please." I died. The mystery man put his palm on his forehead. "You're not making this easy on me, are you? How about we call this whole thing off and I'll let you go home?" "No," I shouted, wiping my tears. "I'm sorry for crying. I can do this. Just get it over with it. I'll put you to sleep. All right, just remember you will never get this shit back." Capic, I know that. As he pulled out a small box and prepared a needle after insertion, the world faded. Slowly in my eyelids got, "I'm coming for your grandpa, just wait." I opened my eyes to an excruciating pain. What the mystery man and the owner holding onto my shoulders celebrate. "As you did good, try not to waste the rest of your body in Alamo. Lucky for you, or you're going. You won't even notice that it's gone." The mystery man said. I wanted to speak but I couldn't. He gave me a mirror inside. "I'll give you a few minutes to clean yourself before you go." I took a look in the mirror. My shit and pretty much everything beneath it was covered in blood. I slowly unhinged my jaw. What's the pain that almost prohibited every bit of movement in the area beneath my nose? My eyes had dried up, for I had already accepted everything that was coming my way. Neither sweet nor better words will ever leave my mouth again. In the mirror, between red stained teeth, did the absence of an organ that broke my ability to ever French kiss a girl, kiss my grandpa, or ever tell my mom I love her. As I will leave the earth after a few minutes with my bruised body, missing tongue and acute anemia, I decided to post this part of me and my cell phone before I left. I'll make sure to capture everything I can with my camera until we meet again. I'm going to miss you guys. Wish everything that happened, as the existence of our kind, to be kept a secret for most of you. Nevertheless, he provided no damn improve, so I guess there's no reason for me to worry. The package contained a camera in order for me to tell you people about what is on it. I was hesitant at first, but I agree with the message she wants to pass on to all of you, so I might as well come by. I'll tell the story, as wanted me to tell you what the hell of letter explaining his emotions. That every minute of footage I woke up in the same room my grandpa showed in the second clip he recorded. The first thing I did was examine my body for the aches and pains that I entered with, and they were somehow gone, and the bruises on my body were still here, but they didn't hurt me. I opened my mouth and I tried to feel it, but it was still gone. To be honest, I was happy he didn't make an arm or a leg. That would have made things way more difficult for me. I hope of my bag and I took out my grandpa's gun. I loaded it the day before. I squeezed the gun between my belt and waist on my backside. I suppose it's time to go, I thought. And I'm in my way upstairs. The stairs were creaky with every step that I took. When I reached the top, almost instantly a voice called to me, "Oh my God, you're so young." She said, "Let me go." I said, getting pissed off by her hyped up mode. "Yes, I'm visiting, leave me alone please," I said, and I'm in my way outside, and she followed me here on Facebook by my outburst. The dusty desert village, just as I had seen in the footage. The sky was dark, yet the town was lighted by some kind of lamps that I hadn't seen in my grandpa's recording. I walked up to one of the labs, but as I got closer I was surrounded by the people of the village who started to touch my body while asking questions again and again, without me being able to answer one of them. "Get off of me!" I yelled, calling them down a bit, just as my grandpa's videos. The crowd was filled with, at first glance, normal people. The only difference were the odd hair and eye colors. "Where am I?" I asked. Looking at the one that sat closest to me, being a blonde-haired, purple-eyed girl that called upon a child every village, Midwest Alana. She said that doesn't help me at all. I thought, what country? I asked. The girl and I both stared at each other in confusion for a bit until the hand reached for my wrist and pulled me into the crowd. "Leave him alone," he told the crowd with a grumpy voice. As we moved through the horde of people, I took a look behind me and felt my backpack bump into someone, the force of the hits making him fall as people caught him just before play beats the ground. The man pulled me into the house and shut the door. "Sorry for all the commotion. They get pretty excited when they see any human, especially a young one," he said, pulling up the chair for me, gesturing me to say it. I put my backpack on the ground and I sat down. And the last thing, comfortable position, as I felt the tip of the gun press against my bum. "Who are you exactly?" I asked. "I'm called the village elder," he said. But after scanning him for a few seconds, I noticed that he didn't look over 25. "Where am I exactly?" "I continue too far from home, very far," he said it. "I can't be that far," I said. "The people still speaking English?" "They don't," he said. 10 seconds silence to erupt. "What language do you? Do they not realize that this is English?" He stood up and started looking for something in the room next to the one that I was sitting in. "Here. It is," he said, after a minute of searching, showing me a handheld mirror about the size of my head. "And take a look at it," he said. I grabbed the mirror, but my distrust stopped my hand as I was about to look you first. I said. He swiftly grabbed it and took a look at it, after which he turned it to me so fast that it made me flange. "And don't worry, it's just a mirror, I swear," he said. Trust in his words. I looked at myself in the mirror, but it really was just a mirror. As far as I could tell, neither we nor you were speaking English right now. He said, "Try speaking into the mirror." "What do you mean?" I said, looking into the mirror. "I don't get it." "Try again. Focus on your mouth." He said, "Are you sure you're not the village of goofballs?" "What I thought, are you?" I said, looking at my mouth in the mirror. "My mouth isn't moving the way it should," I thought while I kept trying. "What's my lipstick? To make a round hole? Oh gosh." The man started to laugh. "What's going on?" I asked. "As I said, you're not speaking English. I want you wondering why you could speak with no time. And then, how are we communicating?" I asked. "You're in Alabama, period. Most humans only get to speak it after their death. You're pretty lucky to experience this. Didn't you even think about how the people would speak in heaven and hell while there will be no English, Chinese, Spanish or whatever? They'll all be speaking. See all that shit? I don't believe in heaven and hell," I said, look at him straight in the eyes as I put them in front of me. "All right, teach their own. I suppose that's not really a common belief in this area," he said. The door opened with a lot of smack. "It is where we come from," a voice shouted from behind me. My blood started to boil upon hearing that voice. That goddamn voice. The village elders, all the thirst for blood in my eyes. Upon noticing him looking at me, I collected my fury and turned around saying, "Grande, it's been so long." Shirtless, Aaron, chest full of sweaty hair, pants covered in sand and dust. I look up Thursday in his eyes, both literally and figuratively. "Yeah, it's my grandpa." "All right, how? You've been 40, so you're filming your own experience at home," he said, walking up to me. "I see the elder is already begun. Introduced you to do this world? Do you know each other play?" The elder asked. "I know it is." My grandpa explained, This little brat is a child of my daughter. So sweet, little Basil Porter, you're like oil and water. The other side, your grandkid. It doesn't seem nearly as eccentric as humor. Yeah, the kid is more like his dad. My grandpa said, "Hey, buddy, you got some water for me?" I didn't say anything before. I was deep in thought. I'm thinking about my next move. I could just shoot him right now, I thought. But with all these people around me here, they might not like that all that much, especially since they seem to know my grandpa pretty well. "Oh, hi, Portia." My grandpa said I'd give me a tap on the head. "Look at my bag." There should be a he grabbed my cheeks with his hands as I was about to pronounce the "oh your tongue." He said, "Well, you don't really have to worry about that, but it's going to suck back on Earth. At least it's healing." Well, he started digging through my bag and choking a bottle of water as soon as he found one. My God, that's refreshing too bad. It's already gone lukewarm. What's this? Yes, showing my nod. See through the bottled buttermilk, I said with a poker face. "Porter," you shouted, grabbing the attention of the elder and every person in the mob. 40, you're so sweet." And he said I was crying. "It's not for you." I said, "Don't drink it." His expression dropped it tremendously. "Give me half." He started to bargain. "No." I said I brought that for myself. "You can't have any." "I'm sorry, I just got excited for a bit. I really like buttermilk. Should keep it cold before it spoils, you're right." I said, "Is there some kind of refrigerator?" I asked the elder. The other looked at me with wide eyes and a smile. "Refrigerator?" he asked. "Don't bother. Party. Different place, different rules. Grab a side. Where is your dog?" He was working on some project the last time that I saw him. "Let's go play grandpa side with a mob of people." We walked through the village and stopped it at the corner, the last house before a grand desert field. That seemed to go nowhere inside the house. My eyes feasted on I might be being a dragon and I whispered to myself, "Well, that wasn't meant to look like a dragon." In actuality it was a sculpture of a dragon made out of the last thing I would imagine someone sculpting in this face. "Eyes, do you like it?" someone asked in a raspy voice, wearing a pair of small glasses, with his blue hair in a ponytail. "Yes, it looks amazing," I said. "Rumors say a dragon has been spotted in the far north." "How awesome is that?" "He has to look at his creation." "Very," I said, so, not used to all of the wonders of this new world. Yeah, 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 yeah. "Can you freeze some bottles for us?" my grandpa asked, cutting straight through the room's mode. "I would appreciate it if you asked me more kindly." "Where are the bottles?" "Yes." My grandpa almost ripped the backpack off my back as he tried to get from the bottles. He walked to the corner of the room where I closed back later, folded I misbehaves one by one that used to take the bottles and placed them back again until they got to the buttermilk bottle. "Make that one extra cold, please." My grandpa said, "You're not going to drink it?" I said, yeah, you'll like it more when it's really cold." "Do you still have the buttermilk in his hand?" For a few seconds longer, I really didn't understand what he was doing, but then I noticed on the outside of the bottle, frost started to appear as the bottle started to make cracking sounds. "What the hell?" I whispered with my jaw almost touching the floor. "Feast your eyes, get it?" And my grandpa said, "How are you doing?" "That is this kid." The people in this world all have some special ability that they can use to an extent, like fire and water inside, but it's not only restricted to Alabama glass. How crazy is that? My grandpa said. I'm not going to lie. At that moment, I truly understand why my grandpa wanted to be here so much. What a world of wise Alabama. It didn't justify his actions and so my thoughts hadn't changed about him. I want you to meet someone else, my grandpa said, grabbing my bag quickly, walking out of the door like a kid who's about to go to the park before I could follow. You still grab my shoulder. Be careful, kid. He said, look into my eyes. With a look that was colder than a sculpture. I took some water bottles for myself. I hope you don't mind. My grandpa said, showing me the cloth bag, that he had failed. I didn't respond. All right, everyone. He shouted to the crowd, we're going farther east. I would appreciate it if you stopped following us. The crowded a big and they started scattering. I know exactly where we were going. I didn't want to meet this someone at all, but I remembered from his recording said it was deep in the desert, the perfect place for me to shoot him. And so there we were, walking in the scorching desert and just the two of us. So how do you like Adam? Yes, it's mesmerizing, didn't I tell you? He said while starting to. For some reason, those blokes on Earth make it really difficult for us to get here. Some assholes. They are right, yeah, I said. Not, gatekeeper, even sent someone to kill me. He continued. My eyes twitch. Does I hurt him? Say that, luckily my boss killed that idiot before he could kill me, that loser. Who is this boss exactly? And what do you do for Emma? I'm happy you asked. My boss is exactly like me, just takes what he wants, he said, grabbing a bottle of the cloth bag he was carrying. It was the buttermilk bottle. He opened the bottle and, before you can take a nap, he stopped and looked at me and you could have had half. You know, shouldn't have been such a greedy asshole, he said, as he checked the bottle into it. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, my boss, like I said, he takes what he wants and the thing that he wants is flash, excuse me. I said he's got some kind of disease or something. He gets really weak if he doesn't care about his own kind. It's pretty weird. I was baffled by his words, but he didn't stop talking for even a second and he just continued. So yeah, because I'm so popular, is it good at leading people to him so he can eat them? That's kind of what I've been doing this whole time, to amuse myself. But his hunger is a lot, so every once in a while I have to figure out a way to get him a lot of people to eat. There is this one artist guy who translates 10 of these people for a single human. He makes our work out of the human or something. It's an awesome deal. If you ask me, you're a monster. I finally managed to say this to his face. That's exactly what your dad said. He said, trembling my mind, with the weight of his words clashing down from the high sky. What I said silently. He started squinting his eyes and scratching his head. Sorry, I got a headache for a bit when you were a kid. He eventually continued to back. When I was first started coming to this place, I wanted to snatch and nibble your body so I can pass the gate is. Your dad stopped me before I could asshole, so eventually I made a trap to leave him to Alan with some obvious clues. Once he figured everything out, he came to Alabama and me and my boss captured him and treated him to the artist that I mentioned before. I couldn't breathe properly anymore. My eyes started to move from left to right rapidly. We were far enough. I was going to end this swiftly, but before I pulled my How could you do all of this? Don't you feel any remorse for what you did to these people, my father, my little brother, your daughter? For hell's sake, life's been really unfair to me, kid. The only way I can be happy, the only way that I can be free is if I treat others the same way. I do have to be honest. I didn't like hurting my grandson nor my daughter, but your dad had it coming. He came closer, laid his hand on my shoulder and whispered, "He came to Alum to kill me, just like you." My senses went on overload as I can feel it, every drop of blood flow through my body. I pushed him off of me and I jumped a step back, drawing this white-covered revival. He put his hand and stuff in the air, but I didn't give a shit. It's time, I thought, and I pulled the trigger and shouting goodbye and good riddance. My grandpa exploded into laughter as my hand exploded in the bits and pieces, scattering my fingers and blood throughout the desert. You idiot, did you really think I would leave the gun in my room for you to find I fell on the ground? You do the pain. You're naive for her. I'm sure you went through a lot of trouble to get this far, but sadly I'm the winner. He said as he pulled a gun from his pocket. "Hi, you Porter. So instead of going through the same house as your dad went, I'll just give you a swift and mostly painless death. That's fair, right? Fuck you," I said, holding what was left in my hand, trying to keep my mind. "Tell your dad," I said. "Hi." He stopped, as his eyes were wide. He took a step back and he vomited in the dry sand, sweating even more profusely than before. He took a look at me and disbelief with his stomach, acid dripping from his mouth and nose. "No way," he said. It was finding my time to laugh. "If only you were in such a piece of shit. That's it. If only you didn't take everything you wanted. If only you knew that your grandson hated buttermilk, then you might have suspected something," I said, "but you didn't even want me to drink it. You told me that it was for you." "Damn it," you said loudly. "I did, because that was the only way I could guarantee you drinking it, because I know that you couldn't help yourself, taking something that didn't belong to you. What did you do to it?" He cried out, vomiting one more time as his arms started to shake crushed cherry pits. I said, "Cyanide," you whispered it, standing up and aiming the gun at me. His arms are shaking, but at this distance I was sure that he would hit it. "Won't play, Portia," he said, "I can accept this and, ironically, I can live with this." It was the sun exploding in the sky, casting darkness upon the whole desert. In an instant, I wanted to move, but not only had I let my guard down and relax my muscles, the shock of the sky made me freeze, making me think that as the bullet made its way towards my skull, a moment of silence occurred, after which the moon was burned light in the desert enough for us to see you, and both of us saw the monsters being between us. "My grandpa's boss." "Boss," he said. I looked at his knee. He had taken the bullet for me as it was sitting on the top of the skin, not penetrating even a millimeter into his flesh. "Boss," my grandpa said as he fell down and started shaking on the ground. The poison had spread vastly, for he had gone into a seizure. It would only take a few more minutes before you'd be dead. "I did it." I paused. "The boss couched next to me and is okay." I was touching the blood-stained sand. "Porter, right?" he asked. I took a look at his face. He wasn't as nearly as scary as in his recordings is. Expression was mellow. It does not look normal as people who are white and far from menacing. "Yes," I said. "I assume you know what your grandpa did for me. I need you to do." "But he said you want me to lure people to their death so you can consume them." I asked as I saw my grandpa stop moving in the background, sending the tiniest amounts of dopamine through my brain in this entire moment. He answered this was the only way that I could survive, the only way that I could live. But what I even want to live? I like that, of course that, and so I had to play it smart. Yes, I'll work for you, I answered. Are you sure? He asked me. I was sure about one thing, I was going to get out of this place alive and never come back. I'm not going to be this monster slave never. Yes, I'm sure I couldn't finish my word, for he had already seen through me and his expression changed rapidly. You're a bad liar, he said with an ominous tone that echoed throughout the desert, shaking me to my core as his pupils turned tiny and his mouth expanded. My glasses excreted ice, cold sweat. As he pointed his pale finger on my nose, sending his shot through my body as my heart it took its last pump, the night turned darker as the sounds got muted. Oh boy, here we go. I thought hey, wake up, sleepyhead. I heard a man say. I tried to move my arms but I couldn't. I looked around me and saw that I was trapped in some kind of wooden plank and a colorful room. What is this? Some kind of circus? I thought out loud. No, don't be silly. And this is my working space. I like vivid colors, you see here, they help me think more artistically. The man said it's hard to explain here, let me show you sad, and started rolling something to me, cloaked with a white cloth. I've been told you know this masterpiece of mine. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the masterful artworks of Jason here, for your eyes only. He started saying. As he ran towards a drum set in the back of the room, he started rapping, before he suddenly stopped and took the cloth off of what was I assumed to be his artwork, the absolute horror that laid before my eyes. I had not seen enough yet. In front of me later, a naked human with every part of his body contorted, spinning, and spirals and circles like some kind of human cinnamon bun. His skin was it is smooth as could be here, reflecting the dim light of the room. His head in the middle, but his hair covered every bit of his hanging face. Do you like? Why? I asked. He went towards the middle of his artwork, shoved his hair to the side and lifted his skull so I could take a look at his face. Don't worry, you'll be joining him very soon, he said. It took me a while to realize, for it had been so long since I've seen him, but after seeing the birthmark on his channel, a movie of memories played to my mind. Come boys, say it with your chest. The man shot at her eyes open. I cried like I cried the moment I was born to a box of tissues and started wiping my tears. Yeah, it's your daddy. Stop crying, he said with a sad expression. As you drive my face, I collected some saliva and I spit it at his face, you bastard. I yelled to the room. Come on now. There's no need to be mean, he said as he moved. Screw you, I said silently. I usually don't use anesthetics, but I wanted to make an exception for you, but if you keep this up, I'll change my mind, he said. I didn't say anything. I just watched my teardrops hit the floor as my head hung low, defeated as can be. Come on, kid. You said, how about I do your favor? Is there something you want? Yes, I want to go home. I responded, anything else? Baby got some candy if you want? He said with a smile. Looking down on the ground, I noticed the camera that was so strapped in my chest. I thought I would have some great memories of my trip to Alabama. How wrong I turned out to be. I want you to send this device on my chest to someone. I said, of course, where do you want me to send it? Period. Please do me this one favor beside, sure, whatever you want, sweetie, and help me write a note to send as well. Hell, no, one favorite kid, don't push your luck. He said. I already understood what this guy lived for, and so I used that to persuade him. It'll be alright, I said his. I started cleaning the camera, cut to black. After this point. Hey, 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 hey. Mr. Coffee Shop owner Porter here wanted me to send you this thing he calls the camera. So here it is. I thought that before I sent it, I should have my creation as well. So feast your eyes on a night-night corporation. Like the branches of a tree, they still there, frozen in the air. His nerves as well, thinly stretched. Trump has cut back like a blonde porcupine, his skin and a permanent smile. Smile into the camera earlier, but his eyes, I'm guessing the artist, pure sadness. He had seen so many things at such a young age. And metaphase is unfair and cruel as they comma. His eyes cried out a single word, lie in the middle of his chest, his heart still beating her. All the horrifying, heinous and outright inhuman. Are you lying if it was an absolutely beautiful? God has blessed the humans with the body that shines its perfection through every inch of it. Let this be a lesson to all of you. There is a saying that goes before you embark on a journey of revenge. Day 2, Graves, although it was there are a few words wiser. If your journey includes a trip to Alamo, remember that merely die and could be a luxury. You might not. It was too stubborn to hear it, blinded by his own desires. From the bottom of my heart, I wish that you made the right choices, this decision, and for the rest of your life. Porter was no special person. In essence, he was just like you. I'll have her troubles, some bigger than others, and our happiness depends on our way of dealing with them. Soak wisely and help those around you who struggle to an extent and they can't do without you, but, above all else, avoid album and those that come from there, for there is a reason why humans dubbed us demons.